Okay, in our last section about the ArcGIS interface, what I'm going to cover here in just a few short slides is covered in the GIS tutorial book, sections 1 through 1-4 through 1-9. So you can follow along and use this as a reference if you would like. So other primary GIS tools, if we look at that main toolbar, we looked at the left side earlier in the last video. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about these other three buttons that are on here. We'll look at other ones in future classes, but for now, these are the other three. Identify, the blue I button, allows you to click on features and get its attributes. This operates, to use a common reference, operates very similar to what Google Maps might look like. So as you move around Google Maps and click, information about that particular area comes up, and the whatever attributes we have show up. The measure tool is really useful because, as you know, we are working with pretty um, accurate GIS data and map data. So the measurement tool, if we want to measure distances between points, measure an area for maybe an area impacted by something, or actually measure individual features, we can do that with the measure tool. And there's a bunch of different things within there that you can work with. And the lab will walk you through that. And then finally, find, the binoculars tool, very similar to any other Windows application. You enter an attribute information, you can find it on the map. So if you remember that there was a fire hydrant that was blue and had an ID of such and such, you could look that up that way. There are many ways of getting at the data, but this is just one example. Speaking of attributes, these are the descriptive information for features. And so in this first diagram here, you see this is a property, and you see how it's colored with a cyan border. That means somebody selected that feature and to look at what information it had. And in the table here, called attribute of parcels, we have a row for that individual parcel with all the information we have about it. And in this particular one, we can scroll to the right and get a lot more information. So for example, what kind of soil classification a polygon of soil type might be, the type of traffic sign that might be out there, whether it's a stop sign or a one-way sign, the name of a street. If you click on the line, if there happened to be a street line going down through the middle of these properties on the right diagram, you could get the information about that street. And not just the name, but anything else you store about it. One feature on the map equals one record in an attribute table. So that's also reflected up here. I clicked on one feature, I get one record or row in the attribute table. Those of you familiar with Excel, this is a row. In database terms, we call it a record. If you right click on any layer, one of the things that comes up is you can open the attribute table. So right clicking on this particular countries layer, I get this, what we call a context box, dialog box, and it says open attribute table is one of my options. When I click on that, all of the attributes for the countries layer show up, and I can sort through it and find it. And I can even highlight a record in here and have it highlight on the map. So attributes are all those things that go along with the spatial features on the map. Labeling features. How do we know what to put on the map? Well, that's where attributes come in as well. You can label features dynamically using their attribute value. So when you go and right-click on cities, for example, and check the box next to label features in the context menu, it automatically looks for something with an attribute called name, and that's what it used. But you could potentially look for and change to display, rather than the name of the city, the population of the city. So these are all different possible things you can work on. We can convert labels to annotation features, which gives us more control. When we just simply label things, it always draws from what the attribute is. So if we went back and changed London's name to something else, it would display whatever we changed it into. Next, some other things, again, a little bit more about attributes. If you right-click on and open the attribute table for any layer, you can look at the total at the bottom, and it tells you how many total features you have. If we look back here at this attribute table, we're not looking at the bottom, so that's not showing a bad example, but you can see the total number of features. You can switch back and forth between what was selected and was not selected, sort by different fields, make them ascending and descending. If there's population, you want the highest to lowest, whatever. You can do all of that within the attribute table. So your lab tutorials will walk you through that. Labeling features we talked about, and then you can also export maps. So your data frame or your map view, everything that you've set up, labeling, colors, all of that, can be exported to different image formats and PDFs. That export tool you're going to use quite often in labs coming up in the next few weeks because I'm going to want to see a screenshot of your resulting map. Make sure you did everything right. So under the File pull-down menu, there's Export Map. You can choose the type that you want. I'm often going to request a PDF file because that's pretty universally viewable, and that's what you would export. So that's the end of the second, or actually third part of the GIS interface tutorial. You're going to learn all about this and go into it in detail in the GIS Lab tutorial book, section 1.1 through 1.9. Good luck.